Hey meteorologists! In this video we are going to rig a Photoshop file so you guys can create your own 3D, no not 3D, 2D Photoshop assets, and then we are going to do something called rigging with it, and most of you are probably familiar with the term rigging. Otherwise I will put some links in for you to understand better the rigging, and I can also explain it to you better in the class. But we're gonna rig a 2D Photoshop file, a PSP file, and then we're gonna animate it in Unity by using the Unity's animation and by using keyframes and moving the joints. And we're gonna be using something called inverse kinematics to do the animations on this guy. And the only thing we have in Unity is just a drawing where, I have a layer. I have put every single elements that gonna be animated inside its own layer, those as you can see here. So it's a very, I'm not a Photoshop person whatsoever, but at least this is very simple to do. So you just create something, you like, this is just a shape, you call it head. You create another shape, you call it leg, arm, etc. First arm, and so forth. And then we're gonna take this into Unity. So I have uploaded the file for you guys. It's on Moodle, and also down here, and you guys can download that and work with that file, so you don't have to do your own Photoshop file. So Photoshop is for your own creativity and making your own beautiful designs, but here we're gonna figure out how to work with Unity to animate this guy. So we're gonna create a new project. This is gonna be another Universal 2D, and this one is gonna be 2D rigged IK something. So we're gonna use a rigged character, and we're gonna do inverse kinematics animations on it. It is opening. Okay, now the project has been made. So before we start, we're gonna make sure that we have the packages we're gonna need for this project. And for that, we need a package called 2D animation and a package called 2D PSD importer. So let's go into our package manager, which is over here, and you can go into Unity registry and look for 2D animation. And I see I already have it, so that is all good. And I also need the 2D PSD importer, which is also already in mine. But you guys should also make sure to download it and have it in your project if you don't have it already. So once that's done, we're gonna import the PSD file, our Photoshop file, into our game. So for that, we're gonna make a PS folder. And then I'm gonna just go into my computer, drag that PS file I just made. So it's over here, this guy. I'm gonna drag it over to here. And now it is right here, as you can see. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna edit this as a sprite. So we're gonna press it, and like you remember from the last video, we're gonna have to press the open sprite editor over here. Boom. And then it looks like someone has destroyed our guy totally. So for that, we're gonna just clean it up by pressing this guy called sprite editor over here. The drop down menu will come up. And then we're gonna do some skinning editor work. Once you press that, boom, then it will clean it up for us. So now for this, now we're gonna start rigging our Photoshop file. And by rigging, again, as I told you, you rig a character by giving it bones. That is basically what rigging means. Again, I will try to find another nice video that explains it and put it down in the description. But yeah, we're gonna give this character bones, and then using those bones, we can later animate this character. So to create some bones, we're gonna create bone with this, which is a button over here. I'm gonna press it. Then I want to create a bone that goes from here to here. Maybe further down, I could press Control Z. Great bone goes from here to here, and from here to here. This way, and then I right click to stop boning the character. So now this is so that we can like move our character on these two bones, right? So after that, let's create some legs for our character, and then from now on, you can make other bones parents of some mother bone, so they will stick together and they will be follow each other's movement. And tell it that it's actually attached to each other, and it's like our real leg bones, they're attached to our spine. So you first press this. So what I do here is I first press this red one here. So I press create bone, press this to indicate it's gonna what I'm creating now is gonna be attached to this guy, and then I'm gonna press over here for the knee, over here for the foot, and then one more bone for the foot itself. Cool. Then I want to do it again. So now I'm gonna create another bone from here. Oh no, shit, sorry. It's gonna start from here, goes to here for the knee, goes here for the foot, and then over here for the foot. So the leg, the shin, and the foot. And then once you're done boning, you right click, boom, and you right click again, boom. They look a little bit weird, right? So you can press edit bone, you can press a bone, and then you can move a bone, like make it a little bit longer, make it a little bit like place them a little bit more appropriate, and so on by the edit bone button. So far so good. Now we need to create the arm bones. So I'm gonna press this guy, gonna make one arm here, boom, boom, and there you go. Then once again on the other hand, here, here, and here. Right click, right click. Now we're gonna give bones to the head. So I'm gonna press this upper body. Then I'm gonna press here up till here, and right click, and that's it. Now we have finished rigging our character, as you can see. And again, if you're not happy, you can press the bone button and edit bone button, and then move them around. One point here is that for some reason deleting a bone is a pain in the ass, so try not to make any mistakes that will require you to delete a bone. So if you want to delete a bone, try to still instead move it around so that it matches the place you want to put it. Okay, now we're gonna name our bones. So gonna press visibility here and open all of these. If you hold down Alt button, it will actually automatically open everything that is underneath it. Now I have opened all the bones, and I want to give name to all of these bones, right? So I press this, I see it start marking down this lower body. So I will call this lower body. This one is the upper body. As I can see, it marks that one. So I'm gonna call this one upper body. This one is a left arm. This one is the left wrist. This one is the right arm, and this one is the right wrist. This one is the head. I'm gonna call it the head. This one is the left leg. This one is the left. How does it spell? Is it called shin? Skin a bean. Shin. I guess I'm gonna write shin now. And we're gonna call this one left foot. Now for the other one, right leg, then right shin, then right foot. There we have it. Now we have name all the bones appropriately. So we're gonna shut this down. We're gonna look at the sprite here. We're gonna make sure we haven't pressed the spine, and then we're gonna create geometry for all of this. Right click if you have it stuck on something. Make sure nothing is selected whatsoever here. And then we just, there's this magical button here that automatically generate mesh geometry. So we're gonna just press that. Boom. Look at that. And then we're gonna generate it for all visible meshes. Boom. So now we have a mesh that is rigged and ready to be animated. But we need to also double check if the influences of the bones on each other are correct right now. So to do that, we press the bone influence. We're gonna check if all the bones relationship to each other are correct and the animations will be done correctly. So let's see if what meshes this influence. Ah, that looks correct. That looks super correct. Well, except this does not look correct, but yeah. But it should, you have the freedom to do that. The foot is also doing nice. Let's see this. Yep, this also looks nice. So over here you can see what, for when you move stuff on the this leg, back leg here. No, this is back leg. This is front leg here. You want to see if the influences are correct, and you can see that the back leg is influenced. The back leg mesh is influenced by left foot, left shin, left right, left leg, left right. So yeah, everything left and right leg. It shouldn't be influenced by the right leg. Well, it should be a little bit, I guess. No, we will remove the right. Sorry about that. We will remove the right leg. But yeah, as you can see, this should not be influenced by the right leg. So, and it is influenced a little bit by the lower body, which makes sense because some of the leg goes into the lower body. This one is good. The back leg here is also looking good. There is no problems. I feel like a doctor right now. All the joints move nicely. Let's check the arms. It looks nice. Nothing looks weird. So this was the back arm. There is nothing wrong here. And let's check the front arm. All the movements are right here. We don't need to move anything. And the head works nicely, and the guy can go back and forth like this. So our sprite is actually able to move around. The rigging has been done nicely. Oh, shit. No. What did I do? Okay, I accidentally pressed revert. Now I have to do everything again. 2 seconds. Okay, so note to you guys, never press this revert button. It will simply remove all the bones, and Control Z will not work. There is no coming back from this button apparently. So I had to redo the whole thing again. But as you can see, it all works now again with the nice bone influences and so on. And the button I wanted to press was restore pose. And then for some reason my brain farted and I pressed revert instead of this one because I wanted back to restore pose. Then I'm gonna apply, and we can now shut this down. Okay, now we can drag our sprite into our scene. Boom. Holy shit, look how big it is. Let me scale it down. We can only see its legs. That is because it is way too big for our full HD resolution. And what we need to change is in the sprite setting here, we need to change the pixel per unit variable, which is how many pixels in the sprite correspond to 1 unit in the world. And let's increase those number of pixels to 256, let's say, and save it. And let's drag it in again. Boom. Now it is much more appropriate, I would say, as it should be. Let's move it a little bit further down on our page here so we can start animating it. -4, so now it's going to be in the bottom of the page, nicely placed down here. Now we're going to do some animations. Before we do that, let's create a folder, call it animation. Oh, for some reason I already had a folder here called animation. Yeah, so make a folder, call it animation here. So now we're gonna create work on the animations, and to do that, let's create a folder, call it animations. There we go. And then our first step to do animation would be to give our PSP file. Let's call it something else. Let's call it our avatar. We're gonna give our avatar an animator. Boom. And the animator controller will animator on our avatar. It's an animator controller. So we're gonna give it that animator controller by right clicking here and then going to animation and creating an animator controller, avatar controller, I'm gonna call it here. Perfect. And then we're gonna drag this animator controller here. Then next thing, you know, we talked about inverse kinematics in the beginning. We're gonna give it a inverse kinematic manager for 2D. That is called the IK manager 2D. Yes, this guy over here. We're gonna add one of those here. And then, you know, as I told you, inverse kinematics, or as you might have seen in the video, I'm gonna try to add to the lecture, and the explanation I'm gonna do for you guys during the lecture is that inverse kinematics takes the endpoint of the joint and animates the whole body according to its position. So we need to give it 4 endpoints to work with. In this case, they call it IK solvers, in inverse kinematic solvers. We're going to create 4 of those here by pressing this plus button over here. And they are limps. So we're going to create 4 limps. There is 1 limp. There is 2 limp. And each time it just jump me out of there. 3 limp. 4 limp. Beautiful. Now we need to rename these limps over here. I'm gonna rename them left arm, right arm, or start small, right arm, left leg, and finally right leg. And once again, I started with capital. Gonna do it like this: left leg, right arm, left arm. There we go. Now we are going to open our whole body by pressing Alt and pressing this button. It will automatically open everything we have under the lower body here. And we can create the endpoints for us to work with. So we need to place, because if you look at this, they need an effector. For instance, the endpoint of the legs are the left foot. Let's go to the scene here. As you can see, the left foot is basically the endpoint of the leg. So it's the right foot. So for the legs, we can give the effector, for the left leg, we give the effector left foot and then create target. Boom, it will create a target. For the right leg, I'm going to give it right foot as the effector. And we create target for that also. Boom, now it has created target. The problem is we didn't make a hand for our model. So for that to happen, we need to give it a hand. Give it like an endpoint of the hand. So if we go onto the wrist, we create an empty game object, right hand IK, I'm gonna call it. And I'm gonna move it by pressing the move button here. Then I'm gonna move it to the end of the hand here. And I'm gonna do the same for the left one. Left hand IK. And that one I'm also gonna move all the way to here. Then for the arms, we're gonna simply, for the left arm, I'm gonna use this guy. Create target. And for the right arm, I'm gonna use this guy and then create target. So far, so good. All right, so now we cannot see our joints, but it's because our gizmos are turned off. So turn on the gizmos over here and then have a look at it. So now you can move around your leg like this, and as you can see, the bones will follow this one. Oh, what happened to this leg? Yeah, you just need to be careful. You can move it up and forward like this. And then I'm gonna move the right leg, for instance, forward like this and a little bit upwards to make it look like I'm walking. And as you see, I just move the end point and all the other joints attached to it will follow. And this is how we are going to animate our character. And in order to animate our character, we need to press the avatar here and then go into animation scene here. And then we're gonna create the first animation. The first animation will be the idle animation. I'm gonna press save. For my idle animation, I want my guy's hand to be down. I'm gonna press record button. I'm gonna take the, so press the record button to start recording. I'm gonna take right arm and left arm and just simply, oh shit, left arm and right arm, zoom in a little bit, grab this green one and then just pull the arms down like this. Calm down, calm down. So, and then, so it's, you see it recorded it here now. It has been recorded, the movement. And then maybe I want his head to move a little bit back and forth also. So I'm gonna just do a little bit of, let's see if it will fuck it up, because we haven't really given any inverse kinematics per se. But yeah, so I'm gonna also record the head going a little bit over here. And then I'm gonna go up like till 30th second here. Or maybe 40th. Again, you guys play around. Then I'm gonna move the head a little bit over here. Then I'm gonna take the right arm and left arm and I'm gonna move them up again. They're all the way down here. Gonna move them a little bit up. So it will look something like this. I'm gonna move this to, you can drag and to the 30th. And then we're gonna copy our starting position. Gonna copy it. Gonna come to 1 minute. I copied it by, you can right click and copy, can't you? No, you cannot. So you can just do this and press Control C, like you copy a file, and then move up to 1 minute in forward, and then Control V to place them again. So now let's see. It will looks like a weird idle animation, I guess. So here we have our idle animation. Now I want to create a new animation. I want to call this one walk. Walk right animation. So this is gonna be exciting to see how our walking right animation will work. I am terrible at this, so you guys should become better at it than I am. Walking right, I'm gonna move this leg a little bit. No, because I'm gonna start from here. Then we're gonna move up to, we need to move something. So I'm gonna start here. And we're gonna bring the arms down again, by the way. So the arms are gonna come down here. And then this is gonna be our starting position for the walking. Then I'm gonna go 30 seconds forward. I'm gonna bring this leg a little bit backwards, I guess. And then this leg up, forward, and up. Like this. And then I guess the we do some arm movements when we walk right. Oh shit. Let's take one of the arms, do it backwards, take the other arm, also move it forwards. And then after 1 minute, we go again, we take the starting position, Control C, copy it, and put it here. Okay, shit, please do better animation than I did, but this is like my idea of walking one direction. And I'm gonna maybe lazy the hell even more of it. Just gonna do this. Yeah, so now we have the walking right animation. I'm gonna try something lazy. I'm gonna try to see if I can make walk left. Just simply copy all the animations here. And then simply over here, rotate our guy. No. Can I do that? Not on this axis. On this axis. Also here. Also here. Oh shit, it wasn't recording. So I'm gonna press this. I'm gonna press record. And then I'm gonna say on the whole avatar 180. Boom. So now it works for walk left. It's exactly as walk right, but just 180 degrees rotated. Now I'm gonna create a new one. Sit animation, I guess. This is gonna be interesting. So for the sit animation, I have no fucking idea how I'm gonna do it. But let's try together. We're gonna start again by having the arms right, left leg. They're gonna be over here. And then I'm not sure what I'm gonna do. Like this. Then also I'm gonna take the whole guy, pull him down like this. Then I'm gonna also take his arms and pull them down like this. So this is gonna be our sit animation. It will just simply move to this position without much animation. Let's see how it goes. Then I'm gonna make a jump animation. And in the jump animation, we want to move, like again, the left arm and right arm. Move them down. Also right arm, move down. That one is a little bit more to it. And then after 30 seconds, because jump, we cannot just let him stay up there. So we need some kind of motion. So in 30 seconds, this guy should be like 0.30. Up here, let's take his legs and do something with them like this. Let's take his arms also and do something with them like this. So this is a jump. And then we're gonna place him back on earth after 1 minute. So I copy the starting position, I press here, I press here. This is jumping. Cool. So now we have 4 animations. Remember to unrecord, otherwise we may break something. Good. Now let's look at this guy. Here's the animator controller, and here is his animator controller. Let's now make an input manager, like a Unity input system. Inputs, we're gonna make a folder for that. So this is gonna be very similar as what we did with the sprites now. We're gonna make some input action, avatar actions. We're gonna press this guy. The list is empty. We're gonna make one called in-game again. I'm gonna once again delete this. I wanna make sure everything is made from scratch. This one we're gonna call movement. And movement's gonna get a binding. No, movement is gonna be value. What kind of value? Once again, vector 2, as we talked about last time. And we're gonna add up, down, left, right once again. Gonna remove this guy. And now we have up, down, left, right. So what's the button? Oh shit. What's the buttons gonna be? For up, we're gonna go with W again. That's gonna be bind to our jumping later. S for sitting down. Left A for left walking. And right walking, we're gonna go with D. To be honest, I haven't actually made it this far before, but we're gonna figure it out. So far so good. It's called movement. Let's move on. Okay. Now we have it. So let's go ahead here and remove all these animations. Walk, let's see, jump, idle. There's so many animations here. What we want our guy to do is to simply do his movements like left and right based on the X button. So if X is pressed, then I mean if the vector is plus, then it should walk right, and then if X is minus, it should walk left. So in our animator, we're gonna make two parameters again. One float for X, one float we call Y again. Okay, cool. Now we have the X and Y axis ready. So now we are ready to move our thingy with the blend tree again like last time. But if you remember, well, let's make the blend tree then. We're gonna create from new blend tree. And it's very much the same as what we did with the 2D sprite animation. We're gonna blend type 2D simple directional. It's gonna take in input the X and Y parameters. And we're gonna create several motion fields. Actually, we are gonna make one more motion field than we did last time. Because if we go and look for our animations, which are not here, we made our animation. Oh no. I can see they are saved here. That is not a good thing. I'm gonna just press them, and I'm holding down Control. I'm marking all the animation. I'm pressing Control X. And then I'm moving them all into my animation folder so it's more cleaned. Okay. So we have now 5 animations. That's why I made 5 of this. And if you remember in our last video, or last lecture, X was for walking right and left animations, and Y was up and down. In this case, we're gonna do Y for jump and sit, and X for walk right and left. And how are we gonna do that? So we're gonna have a X1 for walk right, X minus 1 for walk left, and then we're gonna have a Y1 for jumping, and one Y minus 1 for sitting. And then you might wonder, what do we need the last one for? The last animation. That is gonna be 0, 0. As in idle animation, because we had this idle animation done. So that one is going to be 0, 0. Jump is going to go to +1 to Y because Y is going 1 up. Sit, where is sit? Sit is going to be -1. Then we're going to have walk left as the -1. And then we're going to have walk right animation motion for the +1 on the X axis. And then we got this beautiful shape over here. So we have our blend tree ready. Let's press our avatar, and as you guys, I told you last time, we need to give it physics. And the way you give physics in Unity is by giving it a rigid body, 2D. Here we go, and we don't want it to be affected by gravity at all. So we put that to 0. That is perfect. And we want it also to have a input field, like for input, no, not input field. Input action, what was it called? I don't even remember at this point. It was called was it input action manager? We got player input something. I forgot. Is it player input? It is player input. Okay, good. Player input, because that's where we're gonna put our player input in. So I'm gonna make the input be, oh shit, the input we just made, and we're gonna drag it over here. Good. And what else do we need? Then finally we need a script. So let's go ahead, make a folder for our scripts. We need a script that changes the X and Y of this animator based on inputs from the keyboard, like last time. So we're gonna create a mono behavior script like this. We're gonna call it player mover, and we're gonna open up player mover. Here it is now. We have our player mover ready. So we're gonna be playing around with Unity's input system. So we're gonna be using that library. So I'm gonna write Unity Engine input system here. Perfect. Now we're gonna create a couple of empty variables that we're gonna be playing around with. One of them, because we're gonna get the X and Y input, and as you tried in the last lecture, last video, X and Y input can be stored inside a vector2. So we're gonna make a private vector2 here that we're gonna store the button presses X and Y in from our action input manager. If you guys remember, in our input action manager here, we have put this to be plus Y plus 1Y. So because this is a, oh shit, this no binding thingy should be deleted. There we go. This is a vector2, and then it will up gives it plus Y, 1 to Y, minus 1 to Y, minus 1 to X, plus 1 to X. Cool. Save. There we go. Back to our script. So now we have our vector2. We also want to tell the code to manipulate our rigid body. My body, exactly like we did last time. And private animator, we're gonna also affect our animator. So we're gonna change the X and Y values in our animator here, these guys. So that's why we're gonna be playing with the animator. So as you guys have noticed, I prefer awake to start, and then we're gonna also have something with speed, but we can wait for that till later. I want to take my body, which is this one, and I want to tell it which body we are talking about. So I'm gonna say you should just get the component of the body that you are currently attached to, which is in this case gonna be suggested to take the rigid body of the game object that you are attached to, and we're gonna soon attach it to our own our own avatar game object. And we're gonna do that with my animator. Right now my animator variable is empty, so I'm gonna say, hey, dear my animator, go ahead and try to get the variables, get the animator that of the game object that you're attached to right now. So we're gonna just say go and get the component of the animator you are attached to right now. So what this will do is simply that it will go, we're gonna place this script, we're gonna place this script over here on our avatar. Oh, this is not the script. This is the script. We're gonna place it on our avatar. Now it's here. So in the code, when we write private rigid body and get my body's rigid body, it will look at what it has of rigid body, and it will take that and put it in my body variable in the script, and it will manipulate that. And the same with my animator, it will take whatever is in the animator we have here. Where is it? Here. And then it will manipulate this animator where we have our X and Y variables. Okay. Now we have that done. We are not gonna need update. We're gonna delete that. But we're gonna need on movement. If you remember, we call our action manager input action movement. So we want somebody to listen for on movement. So we're gonna write a function, private void on movement. We're gonna call it. The naming is very important. It should be called on movement because we have an input action called called movement. And in there, we're gonna take input value. We're just gonna call it value again, exactly like what we did with the sprite animation. And once again, we want it to give movement the value of the vector 2 of value. So we want it to listen for the value, the vector 2 of the movement input action. So of this guy here, this guy, and avatar actions, which will get inputs from our keyboard. And we want it to store it up there. You guys, you will understand all of this much better once you get a little bit more of understanding of programming, but this is just to get you going. So once you get the principles, you have already experience and you can remember and you can play around with it. For now, I just want you guys to be able to start building stuff. Oh. Sorry about that. There we go. My keyboard, sometimes I need to change the layout to a different language. There we go. So movement, get value. What did I do? Get needs to be with capital, sorry. Okay, so now movements, which it has a x and y, it will be the x and y of the vector that will come in from our keyboard. So now we're gonna take my animator and we're gonna change its floats. And if you remember, we made two float, one x. So we say we want to change the float called x, and we want to give it whatever variable is inside movement's x side. So movement has an x and a y. We're gonna give it the x side, and we're gonna do the same here with the y movement dot y. There we go. And then, so this will change the x and y, which will in turn animate our character, because we have said if x and y are these different variables, play one of these 5 different animations. Okay. And then finally, what we want is for our character to move. So we're gonna make, again, exactly like the sprite one, fixed update. We're gonna say my, not my animator, my body, its linear velocity should be equals keyboard brain fart again, equals movement time, keyboard brain fart, time speed. Whoa. Just speed. Oh, I don't have anything called speed. Should make speed. Gonna make speed a serialized field. Serialized field, because we can play around with it in the inspector. Private int speed. Again, we're gonna just give it the value 5. And we're gonna say here times speed. So that is it. And as you can see, it is quite similar to what we did with the sprite animation. As simple as that. So let's see. Do we have everything here? This is set to 5. This has everything. Well, let's see if it works. We have our animator here. It got the blend tree. Yeah. Okay, let's try. Probably will not work. Oh, the idle animation works. It jumps. It sits. It walks to left. And it walks to right.